On September 3, 2024, at 6:47 in the morning, Federal Bureau of Investigation Special Agent Christy M. Curtis watched through binoculars from an unmarked vehicle. The target's mansion sat on an exclusive street in Manhasset, Long Island. On the second floor, the bedroom lights just turned on. The woman inside did not know 47 agents surrounded her property. She did not know 3 black sport utility vehicles blocked her driveway. She did not know the Rolex on her wrist was flagged for seizure. Curtis spoke into her radio. She instructed all units to stand by. The arrest warrant had been signed by Judge Peggy Cuomo. The evidence filled 3 bankers' boxes. There were 8 criminal counts. Years of surveillance condensed into this moment. At precisely 6:51 in the morning, Curtis gave the signal. Federal Bureau of Investigation agents approached the front door of the $4.1 million mansion. The same mansion would ultimately expose one of the most brazen Chinese influence operations ever discovered inside American state government. The woman behind that door was Linda Sun. She was 41 years old. She served as Deputy Chief of Staff to New York Governor Kathy Hochul until last year. She was a political operative who climbed from immigrant roots to the inner circle of power. Federal prosecutors, however, had a different description for her. They called her an undisclosed agent of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. For more than a decade, Sun allegedly used her government positions to advance Beijing's agenda. Her personal wealth exploded in ways no civil servant's salary could explain. Her government salary in 2021 was $145,000. Yet somehow she owned this mansion valued at $4 million. She also owned a Ferrari Roma sports car. She had a $2.1 million condominium in Honolulu, Hawaii. Luxury watches, including a Patek Philippe, were also found. There was diamond jewelry. Over $130,000 in cash was seized from her home. The Federal Bureau of Investigation raid that morning would pull back the curtain on a scheme. Prosecutors called it a betrayal of New York and America itself. Inside the mansion at 6:53 in the morning, Linda Sun opened her door in a bathrobe. Her husband, Chris Hu, stood behind her. Within seconds, both were in handcuffs. Curtis read them their rights. The charges sounded like something from a spy thriller. The charges included violating the Foreign Agents Registration Act. Other charges were visa fraud and alien smuggling. She also faced charges of money laundering conspiracy and conspiracy to commit bank fraud. Finally, there was misuse of means of identification. As agents spread throughout the house, they began cataloging evidence. They found the Ferrari in the garage. There were luxury handbags and designer clothing still bearing price tags. Financial documents showed millions in transactions. Bank statements revealed deposits that made no sense for a government employee. Curtis knew what these items represented. They represented the price of loyalty and the cost of betrayal. This was the physical evidence of a decade-long relationship between a state official and a foreign government. What the agents did not find mattered just as much. There were no disclosure forms. They found no foreign agent's registration. There was no acknowledgement that Sun had been working for 2 masters simultaneously. At 7:12 in the morning, Linda Sun and Chris Hu were placed into separate vehicles. They would be arraigned later that day before Magistrate Judge Peggy Cuomo in Brooklyn Federal Court. But the real trial was just beginning. Linda Sun moved from China to the United States with her parents when she was 5 years old. She became a naturalized American citizen. Hers was a classic immigrant success story. She attended Barnard College, where she earned an undergraduate degree in political science in 2006. 3 years later, she completed a master's degree in education from Columbia University in 2009. She was bright, ambitious, and fluent in both English and Mandarin Chinese. That linguistic bridge would become her most valuable asset. Ultimately, it also became her most dangerous vulnerability. Sun understood how to navigate between 2 worlds. These were American political institutions and Chinese cultural networks. She knew which doors to open and which to keep closed. She understood the unspoken rules of both systems. That understanding made her indispensable. It also made her dangerous. Her political career began with Representative Grace Meng, a Democratic congresswoman representing parts of Queens, New York. Sun worked as chief of staff when Meng was still a state assemblywoman. She helped Meng win a United States House seat in 2012. Success breeds opportunity. In the aftermath of that victory, Sun caught the attention of Governor Andrew Cuomo's administration. She joined the Cuomo team and began ascending through various positions. From 2012 to 2014, she served as Director of Community Relations for the governor. Then from 2014 to 2015, she became Director of Intergovernmental Affairs. Her career trajectory continued upward. Between 2015 and 2018, she held the title of Director and then Deputy Director in the Executive Chamber under Cuomo. By 2018 to 2020, she was Deputy Chief of Staff in the Executive Chamber, working directly for the governor. When Cuomo resigned amid scandal in 2021, Lieutenant Governor Kathy Hochul assumed the governorship. Sun did not miss a beat. Hochul promoted her to Deputy Chief of Staff in September 2021, one of the most powerful positions in state government. Sun earned approximately $145,000 that year, according to public records. She held that role until September 2022. Then she moved to Deputy Commissioner for Strategic Business Development at the New York State Department of Labor. This role lasted from September 2022 until her termination in March 2023. That termination did not come from nowhere. By early 2023, the New York State Office of the Inspector General had begun asking questions. On February 14, 2023, Sun sat for a voluntary interview with investigators. She claimed she attended Asian community events in her personal capacity. She said she was not representing the Department of Labor. She insisted she had not requested any official gubernatorial proclamations since transferring to labor. Both statements were lies. Under further questioning, she admitted she had obtained a proclamation for a Chinese government official. She received this request from the People's Republic of China consulate in New York. She admitted attending a Lunar New Year event. There, an official called her to the stage and identified her as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Labor. She confessed she never notified her employer about the proclamation. She also never received permission from the governor's office to provide it. The Department of Labor terminated Linda Sun on March 2, 2023. Termination was not enough. Even after being fired, Sun continued attending public events through July 2023. She falsely claimed to still be Deputy Commissioner. On August 10, 2023, the department sent her a cease and desist letter. The letter stated that Sun had allegedly attended public and professional events. She purported to represent herself as an agency official after her employment was terminated. Still, she did not stop. The behavior suggested either remarkable hubris or desperate commitment to maintaining the appearance of power. Federal investigators suspected both. Investigators determined what Linda Sun was actually doing in those government positions. According to the 64-page federal indictment, she was running a sophisticated influence operation. This indictment was unsealed on September 3, 2024. The operation was on behalf of the Chinese Communist Party and the People's Republic of China government. Her activities fell into clear patterns. These patterns included blocking Taiwan and promoting China. She also manipulated messaging and facilitated illegal entry. Furthermore, she received handsome payment for all these actions. The Taiwan issue became her signature obsession. The People's Republic of China claims Taiwan as Chinese territory despite never controlling it. Beijing demands that other governments refuse to recognize Taiwan's legitimacy. For China, the Taiwan question represents a core political priority. Linda Sun made it her mission to ensure New York State government had zero contact with Taiwanese representatives. Neither Governor Cuomo nor Governor Hochul had an official policy regarding Taiwan. In fact, Representatives from the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office regularly met with high-ranking United States government officials in Washington. Taiwan maintained offices providing consular services in New York City. Meeting with Taiwanese representatives was normal, routine, and unremarkable, except when Linda Sun was involved. Starting no later than 2016, Sun actively worked to prevent any contact between Taiwanese officials and the governor's office. She did this at the direct request of Chinese consulate officials in New York. In written communications with People's Republic of China consular representatives, Sun repeatedly bragged about her actions. She had successfully blocked meetings between Taiwanese representatives and both politician number 1 and politician number 2. These were the code names used in the indictment for Cuomo and Hochul. On June 9, 2016, Sun wrote a Chinese consular official with urgent news. She informed the official, for their information, that the Taipei Economic Office was attempting to secure politician number 2 for an event in the District of Columbia during Select United States of America. She reported that they sent the invitation to another colleague trying to bypass her. Sun stated she was working on it right now to resolve the issue. After the official thanked her, Sun replied that everything had been handled satisfactorily. On June 21, 2016, politician number 2 attended a different event. This was the 2016 Select United States of America reception in Washington. The People's Republic of China Embassy and the China General Chamber of Commerce hosted this event. This was not the Taiwan event. Was this a coincidence? The Federal Bureau of Investigation did not think so. In January 2019, Sun's messages became even more explicit. She wrote to People's Republic of China official number 3 at the Chinese consulate. Sun expressed how much she valued her relationship with the consulate. She stated she had worked to make the relationship between the state and the consulate flourish during her time with politician number 1. Sun also claimed she had stopped all relationships between the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office and the state. She continued with emphasis. She emphasized that she had denied all requests from their office. People's Republic of China official number 3 responded with appreciation. The official conveyed appreciation for Sun's help. The official added something revealing. The official stated that Sun was the most important hub connecting them with politician number 1 and his team. This description meant she was not merely a contact or a liaison. Instead, she served as a central hub. She was the key connection between Beijing and Albany. On February 27, 2019, Sun directed a member of politician number 1's staff to decline a meeting request from a mayor of a Taiwanese city. Her instruction was blunt. Her instructions were to decline the request. She told them to explain it in person. There was to be no written trail or documentation. This was just a quiet refusal delivered face to face. The pattern continued with remarkable consistency. On July 5, 2019, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Representative Office Deputy Consul sent Sun an email. Taiwan's president would visit New York City on July 12. The email asked if Sun and politician number 1 would attend a banquet in Manhattan. Sun forwarded the email to People's Republic of China official number 4 within minutes. She wrote, "For their information." Then she sent a text message. She stated she had sent an email, and for their information, she had already blocked it. The Chinese official responded with an immediate acknowledgement and thanks. The next day, Sun declined the invitation on behalf of politician number 1. She claimed he would be hosting a summer activity day for staff in the Catskills on July 12th. The excuse was a lie. The summer event occurred on July 11th, not the 12th. Before declining, Sun never forwarded the invitation to the Executive Chamber's invitations office. She never checked the governor's schedule for that date. She simply refused on her own authority. On July 10, there was a 9-minute phone call between Sun and People's Republic of China official number 4. Then there was a 2.5-minute call between Sun and People's Republic of China official number 1. Later that day, Sun emailed a staff member asking if there was a particular event in the system. She asked about a dinner banquet hosted by the president of Taiwan. She believed it was scheduled for Friday. She needed to make sure no one had accepted without her knowledge. When told there was nothing scheduled, Sun responded with one word. Her response was one word: perfect. On July 12, 2019, the day of the Taiwanese president's New York visit, Linda Sun did not just sit in her office. Federal Bureau of Investigation investigators found photographs from a news publication. The images showed Sun participating in a protest in Manhattan against the Taiwanese president's visit. She stood among leaders of local Chinese associations. All of them demonstrated against a Democratic leader visiting New York City. This was a New York State government official protesting against a friendly democracy. The optics alone should have raised alarms. However, Sun operated with confidence that no one was watching. On August 6, 2019, the new Taipei Economic and Cultural Office Director of Political Affairs sent Sun a friendly email. The email asked if she would like coffee or a meeting to introduce themselves. The next day, Sun wrote to People's Republic of China Official 1 at the Chinese consulate. Sun stated that she had successfully blocked all formal and informal meetings between Politician 1, Politician 2, and the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. She added that she herself had maintained only a bare minimum of a relationship with them. She then asked for instructions. With regard to their current request, she continued, she assumed that a visit to the governor's office was probably best avoided. This would prevent any claims of recognition. She wanted to ensure they were on the same page regarding this matter. Clearly, she was not making independent decisions. She was taking orders. A week later, on August 13th, Sun finally responded to the Taiwanese official's coffee invitation. She suggested meeting at a chain takeout restaurant near their office. This was not the governor's office, nor was it a proper meeting. She proposed a quick coffee at a casual restaurant. According to internal correspondence, Sun and her office's Director of Asian American Affairs met with the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office representative on August 20, 2019. It was only one meeting representing minimal contact. Then on August 21st, Sun messaged People's Republic of China Official 4 with a complaint. She referred to Chinese consulate officials and wrote that the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office was better at outreach. She noted that they regularly reached out to her for coffee. This was also true for all other representatives in other elected officials' offices. She acknowledged they did not need to have coffee, as they were in regular contact. Sun continued with a suggestion. She believed it might be helpful in building a better relationship. She added that not everyone was like her. The message was clear. She was loyal. Others might not be. The Chinese consulate needed to work harder to cultivate other officials. However, they could trust Linda Sun completely. In late August 2019, Sun edited a draft statement from Politician 1. The statement commemorated soldiers and veterans of the United States and Taiwanese armed forces. Sun proposed only one change. She asked if they could politically refrain from using the phrase Republic of China. This would avoid creating an international incident by recognizing Taiwan. Her concern was not accuracy or appropriateness. Instead, it was avoiding an international incident with Beijing. In an internal email, Sun eventually approved a draft that removed all references to the Republic of China. On September 5, 2019, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office invited Politician 1 to attend Taiwan's National Day event on October 7th at a Manhattan hotel. After various members of the governor's office asked Sun to weigh in, she gave her verdict. Her verdict was no message and no representative. She advised against sending a message and also against sending a representative. This was a complete snub. On October 2nd, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office Director wrote Sun again. He asked about the office's availability for the event. There is no record of Sun ever responding. This was a silent refusal. On January 13, 2020, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office ambassador wrote Politician 1. He informed him of Taiwan's latest presidential election results. The ambassador wrote that he would be honored to forward a congratulatory message to Taipei. A staffer forwarded the letter to Sun, asking for input. Her response was immediate. She replied that no letter should be sent, as it would set off a political firestorm. There should be no congratulations for a democratic election. She recommended nothing that might anger Beijing. On April 17, 2020, during the height of the COVID-19 pandemic, Taiwan donated 200,000 masks to New York State. The shipment was routed through the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office in New York. After the donation was finalized, a Taipei Economic and Cultural Office staff member emailed Sun and two other New York State employees. The staff member asked for details on arranging a phone call between Politician 2 and the Director General of the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office. On April 21, 2020, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office staffer followed up about arranging the call. The staffer explained that members of the Taiwanese American community had been asking their office about donations to hard-hit New York. They wondered why they did not see any public announcement by the state government. Sun did not respond. On May 6, 2020, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office followed up again. Sun ignored them. The next day, May 7th, Sun wrote to People's Republic of China Official 1 at the Chinese consulate. She reported that the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office donated 200,000 surgical masks. She noted there was no formal acknowledgement, but she would arrange for Politician 2 to call their office to thank them. She concluded by stating she just wanted to provide an update. The Chinese official thanked her for the update. Sun reported to Beijing before responding to the donors. On October 25, 2020, after People's Republic of China official 2 praised Politician 1's pandemic efforts via text, Sun responded enthusiastically. She stated that she was still in charge of all Asian affairs. She reported that a few weeks prior, when they released a press release for international travel, she almost had a heart attack. This was because they referred to Taiwan as a country. Thankfully, she had the press team correct it immediately. People's Republic of China official 2 replied by thanking her for her efforts. He praised her work to improve understanding and cooperation between the two great peoples of China and the United States. He also asked her to keep in touch. On December 22, 2021, the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office requested a meeting between the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office ambassador and the new lieutenant governor. Sun's response in an internal email was swift. She wrote that they had generally not taken these meetings. Politician 2 did not take such meetings in her previous capacity. Sun recommended that her colleague also not take this meeting, as it was a very sensitive subject. In a later email, Sun added that any engagement with the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office needed to be kept at staff level. She stressed there should be no high-level contacts. This was to be the rule ever. On April 21, 2022, an employee received an invitation to recognize May 8th to 15th as Taiwanese American Heritage Week. After asking Sun how to respond, Sun wrote to please not issue it. She then added a thank you. On May 2, 2022, a member of the New York State Assembly invited Politician 2 to meet the Taipei Economic and Cultural Office ambassador. When asked whether Politician 2 should attend, Sun's reply was final. She replied that there should be no meeting. She advised to kindly decline the invitation. She did not want Politician 2 to wade into this China or Taiwan sensitivity. For years, Linda Sun systematically isolated Taiwan from New York State government. She did it methodically, consistently, and successfully. She did it while taking orders directly from Chinese government officials. However, blocking Taiwan was only part of Sun's work. She also actively shaped what New York's governor said publicly about issues important to Beijing. In early 2020, as COVID-19 emerged, Sun communicated frequently with Chinese consulate officials. These included People's Republic of China Official 1, People's Republic of China Official 2, People's Republic of China Official 3, and People's Republic of China Official 4. Initially, she helped ship personal protective equipment to China. After the pandemic spread to the United States, she helped coordinate shipments of personal protective equipment and ventilators to New York. During these communications, Sun repeatedly promoted Company 1, a carrier business with United States headquarters in Queens. The company was an authorized freight agent for the Chinese government. The proprietor was a close friend of Sun's husband, Chris Hu. Sun falsely suggested Company 1 was her husband's own company. On January 20th, 2020, Sun wrote People's Republic of China Official 1. She was updating him on personal, protective equipment donated to Wuhan. The shipping and customs clearance were provided by what she described as her husband's logistics company. She was referring to Company 1. She offered free shipping for other donations. In communications about the same donation, People's Republic of China Official 3 sent Sun a link to a Chinese media statement about the donation. The statement referenced Company 1. People's Republic of China Official 3 asked Sun to say thank you to her husband and his company, Company 1. Sun responded by thanking him. She then asked if they could make a slight edit to the part about Company 1. She proposed alternative text. People's Republic of China Official 3 agreed to make the edit. Sun was crafting Chinese government propaganda to promote her husband's business connections. On March 16, 2020, Sun took a more brazen step. She surreptitiously added People's Republic of China Official 4 to a private New York State government conference call. The call concerned the health response to COVID-19 and rising hate crimes against Asian Americans. Speakers included the New York State Commissioner for the Division of Human Rights and the Director of Education and Outreach for the Center for Environmental Health. The call was not open to the public. People's Republic of China Official 4's name did not appear on the invitation list. During the call, Sun repeatedly messaged the Chinese official. She instructed him to keep his phone muted. At the end, People's Republic of China Official 4 commented that the call was very useful. Phone records show a call lasting approximately 36 minutes between Sun and People's Republic of China Official 4. It began at approximately 6:30 in the evening on March 16, 2020. The private government call was also scheduled to begin at 6:30 in the evening and lasted approximately 32 minutes. The timeline matched perfectly. Sun had given Chinese intelligence direct access to internal New York State pandemic response discussions. On April 3, 2020, People's Republic of China Official 1 informed Sun that several Chinese foundations would donate 1,000 ventilators to the Greater New York Hospital Association. Sun told the official that Politician 1 would call to thank him. After 2 hours passed without the call, People's Republic of China Official 1 complained. Sun apologized for wasting his time. Politician 1 was in a meeting with the Commissioner of the Department of Health. Sun promised the governor would call the next day. People's Republic of China Official 1 gave her specific instructions. He instructed her to remind Politician 1 to thank the People's Republic of China government for facilitating the donation. On April 4, 2020, Politician 1 publicly thanked People's Republic of China Official 1 in remarks and on Twitter. This was for helping arrange the donation scheduled to arrive at John F. Kennedy Airport that day. The governor followed the script Beijing provided. That same day, Company 1 owner wrote Sun a message. The owner asked Sun to see if she could get Company 1's name out there. Later that day, Sun asked People's Republic of China Official 1 to promote Company 1, which provided logistics for the ventilator donation. Company 1 ultimately billed New York State government more than $700,000 for logistics services during the spring and summer of 2020. This amounted to over $700,000, a significant sum for the services. People's Republic of China Official 1 agreed and asked Sun to photograph the goods when they were delivered to hospitals. The next day, Sun thanked People's Republic of China Official 1 for complimenting her work to Politician 1. She stated that it would empower her to do more for the People's Republic of China. People's Republic of China Official 1 responded that he felt compelled to compliment her phenomenal work. The relationship had become overtly transactional. There was praise for the governor. There was also praise for Sun. Money went to the business. This arrangement also brought influence for Beijing. In early 2021, Sun took her messaging control even further. On January 12, 2021, People's Republic of China Official 4 asked if politician 1 would make a short video for Lunar New Year. Sun replied the next day. She said she would ask, but politician 2 could likely do it. She then asked for direction. Sun asked if he could share some talking points of things he wanted politician 2 to mention. She stated she could make sure to include them in her remarks. People's Republic of China official 4 responded. He suggested mostly wishes for the Lunar New Year. He added that politician 2 could also mention that 2020 had been challenging for people all around the world. He then suggested mentioning how they fought the virus together. He concluded that the remarks did not need to be long. Sun asked if he had time for a phone call. He agreed. That morning, there was a 10-minute call between Sun and People's Republic of China official 4. On January 19, 2021, Sun confirmed politician 2 agreed to deliver the speech. She again requested themes or topics to include. People's Republic of China official 4 replied that the speech should mainly contain holiday wishes and hope for friendship and cooperation. The official added that the message should not be too political. Sun responded, okay. On January 25, 2021, Sun corresponded with People's Republic of China official 1 about the Lunar New Year message. She sent him a link to a file-sharing platform with a video file called Politician 2 Lunar New Year. People's Republic of China. Official 1 commented that the message was very good. He sincerely appreciated Sun for sending the message. Sun responded that it was unnecessary to thank her. She added that politician 2 listened to her advice more than politician 1 did. Subsequently, Sun revealed something concerning. She reported having an argument with politician 2's speechwriter about the draft message. According to Sun, the speechwriter insisted politician 2 mention the Uyghur situation in China during the speech. The Uyghurs are a primarily Muslim ethnic minority. They face systematic persecution and detention in state-run camps in Xinjiang province. Mentioning their plight would anger Beijing. People's Republic of China official 1 commented that the speechwriter likely never visited China and did not know the country well. Sun agreed that the speechwriter never visited. She was starting to lose her temper. People's Republic of China official 1 wrote that United States-China relations turned sour because of people like the speechwriter. Sun promised she would remedy the situation the next day. She could not let politician 2 mention the Uyghurs. In politician 2's public Lunar New Year message for 2021, there was no reference to Uyghurs. People's Republic of China official 1 posted the video to the Chinese consulate Facebook page. Beijing had successfully censored a New York governor's speech. After transferring to the Department of Labor in September 2022, Sun continued her work for Chinese officials. This work fell outside her official duties. In January 2023, Chinese government representatives requested that Sun arrange for the Executive Chamber's Office of Correspondence to produce a framed gubernatorial proclamation. This proclamation would celebrate Lunar New Year. Sun would present this proclamation to People's Republic of China official 1. She obtained the proclamation from an Office of Correspondence employee. This was done outside ordinary channels. She did not follow protocol. She did not seek supervisory authorization. The proclamation was not logged in the Executive Chamber's online tracking system. Sun sent the employee who created it a personal gift basket. She claimed to have sent wine. Both gifts went to the employee's home address at a relative's residence. The employee mailed the framed proclamation to Sun's personal Long Island address. At the Lunar New Year event in mid-January 2023, People's Republic of China official 1 called Sun to the stage to speak. He identified her as Deputy Commissioner of the Department of Labor. A photograph from the Chinese consulate's website shows Sun at the event presenting the proclamation. She never notified the Department of Labor. She never received permission from the governor's office. She admitted all of this during her February 14, 2023 interview with the Office of the Inspector General. 2 weeks afterward, she was fired. However, the damage was already done. For years, Linda Sun had operated as an undisclosed agent of a foreign government while holding positions of trust and authority in New York State government. What did Linda Sun receive in return for this service to Beijing? Prosecutors state she received millions of dollars. The scheme worked through her husband, Chris Hu's businesses. Hu operated a seafood exporter based in Queens, organized in March 2016. He ran a purported financial consultancy based in Queens, organized in February 2016. He also owned a wine and liquor business based in Queens, organized in June 2021. Sun filed the articles of incorporation for the seafood company with the New York State Department of State. These businesses became the vehicles for laundering Chinese government money. In return for Sun's political activities, she received substantial economic benefits. This included the facilitation of millions of dollars in transactions for Hu's China-based business activities. The indictment describes a complex web of financial transactions. Chinese officials arranged for money to flow into Hu's companies. Hu then used those proceeds to purchase luxury assets. These included a real estate property in Manhasset, New York, for $3.6 million. He also purchased a condominium in Honolulu, Hawaii, for $1.9 million. Additionally, he bought various luxury automobiles, including a 2024 Ferrari. The numbers in the indictment tell the story clearly. Millions flowed from China. Millions were converted into American luxury. This lifestyle was completely incompatible with a government salary of $145,000. Sun also received non-monetary benefits that paint a vivid picture of the relationship. These included travel benefits to China. Luxury accommodations were paid for by the Chinese government. She stayed in a hotel suite in Beijing where Michelle Obama had previously stayed. She received tickets to events, including Chinese orchestra and ballet performances. There was also the promotion of a close family friend's business. Furthermore, employment was provided for Sun's cousin in China. And then there were the ducks, Nanjing-style salted ducks. This detail became infamous when the indictment was unsealed. Between 2021 and 2022, People's Republic of China, Official 1 arranged for his personal chef to prepare Nanjing-style salted ducks. These ducks were delivered to the residence of Sun's parents. There were multiple deliveries. More than 12 ducks were delivered, according to trial testimony. Prosecutors emphasized this detail because it illustrated the personal nature of the corrupt relationship. This was not abstract geopolitical maneuvering. This was a Chinese government official sending fancy poultry to an American trader's family. The salted ducks became a symbol of how thoroughly Beijing had cultivated Linda Sun. She was not just selling policy positions, she was receiving gifts for her parents. The corruption had infected her family relationships. She had brought her relatives into the scheme, whether they knew it or not. Hu also laundered money through bank accounts opened in the name of a close relative. The accounts were actually for Hu's exclusive use. To open them, Hu unlawfully used an image of the relative's driver's license. This constituted bank fraud. It involved misuse of identification. It also encompassed money laundering. The couple did not just accept corrupt payments. They built an infrastructure to hide and legitimize the money. Sun never disclosed any benefits from Chinese government representatives to the New York State government. She was required to do so as a government employee. She never registered as a foreign agent with the Attorney General, as federal law demanded. She actively concealed her actions. During a voluntary interview with Federal Bureau of Investigation agents in July 2020, Sun misrepresented the purpose of one of her trips to China. She concealed that the trip was arranged and funded by conspirators. These conspirators represented the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party. During her February 2023 interview with the Office of the Inspector General, she lied about requesting proclamations and attending events in her official capacity. The lies were not mistakes. They were part of the cover-up. By not registering as a foreign agent and not disclosing her status, Sun portrayed herself as independent. She appeared to be acting in New York State's interests. The public could not evaluate her conduct properly. Neither could her bosses. That was the point. Concealment enabled the operation to continue for years. However, every operation leaves traces. The Federal Bureau of investigation into Linda's son took time to build. Forensic accountants noticed anomalies in government employee banking patterns. Someone in state service was living far beyond their salary. Algorithms flagged luxury purchases totaling more than $7 million over 18 months. Cross-referencing with employment records revealed the impossibility. Son's government salary in 2021 was $145,000. Even assuming her husband's legitimate businesses generated income, the wealth accumulation was suspicious. The discrepancy triggered a preliminary counterintelligence investigation. What followed exposed a foreign influence operation running for more than 10 years. Federal Bureau of Investigation surveillance began methodically. The Bureau deployed standard protocols for suspected foreign agents. 3 rotating vehicle teams maintained visual contact at all times. 2 fixed observation posts were equipped with long-range cameras and audio monitoring. 1 technical specialist monitored electronic communications under authority granted by a Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act warrant. This warrant was approved by the Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act Court on March 15, 2024. Every movement was logged with precise timestamps and geographic coordinates. Every transaction was photographed and documented. The surveillance logs for April 2024 alone filled 372 pages of single-spaced entries. Agents watched Sun attend events and meet with Chinese officials. They documented her bank deposits and luxury purchases. The pattern was clear. Money arrived from China and assets were purchased immediately. There was no waiting or financing. It was just transaction after transaction. The mansion in Manhasset became the focal point. It was purchased for $3.6 million. The question arose, where did that money come from? Bank records showed wire transfers from China. Payments were routed through whose businesses? These included shell companies and consultancies. The Hawaii condo followed the same pattern. It cost $1.9 million. It was paid in cash with no mortgage. Then came the Ferrari Roma, a 2024 model. This luxury sports car was captured in surveillance photos with Sun driving it. The vehicle alone screamed impropriety for a former government employee. Forensic accountants calculated the total. It was more than $7 million in 18 months. This was on a salary that could not afford a studio apartment in Manhattan. The numbers did not lie. They never do. By July 2024, the investigation reached critical mass. On July 23, 2024, Federal Bureau of Investigation agents executed a search warrant at Sun's Manhasset mansion. The early morning raid shocked the quiet Long Island neighborhood. Neighbors watched as agents carried boxes from the home. The search lasted hours. Agents seized financial documents, electronic devices, and luxury items. This provided evidence of the lavish lifestyle. The raid made headlines. The headlines reported that the former top aide to Governor Hochul's home was searched by the Federal Bureau of Investigation. There were no arrests yet. There were also no charges. This was just the unmistakable signal that something was very wrong. Sun knew the walls were closing in. For 6 weeks after the raid, she waited. August passed, and then September arrived. September 3rd, 2024. At 6:47 in the morning, agents from the Federal Bureau of Investigation surrounded the mansion. This marked the second time they had been there. This time, however, they were not searching. They were making arrests. At 6:51 in the morning, agents approached the front door. Linda Sun and Chris Hu were taken into custody without incident. They were transported to Brooklyn for processing. Later that same day, at 2:30 in the afternoon, both individuals appeared before Magistrate Judge Peggy Cuomo for arraignment. The indictment against them was then unsealed. It contained 64 pages of charges. 8 counts were listed against Sun. These included violating and conspiring to violate the Foreign Agents Registration Act. She also faced charges of visa fraud, alien smuggling, and money laundering conspiracy. 4 counts were listed against Hu. These were money laundering conspiracy, conspiracy to commit bank fraud, and misuse of means of identification. United States Attorney Breon Peace announced the charges during a press conference. He stated that the defendant and her husband allegedly worked to further the interests of the Chinese government and the Chinese Communist Party. This was done while Sun appeared to serve the people of New York as Deputy Chief of Staff. The illicit scheme enriched the defendant's family by millions of dollars. Peace further declared that his office would act decisively. They would prosecute those who serve as undisclosed agents of a foreign government. Federal Bureau of Investigation Acting Assistant Director Christy M. Curtis also added a statement. She said Sun used her position of influence among executives to secretly promote the People's Republic of China and Chinese Communist Party agendas. This directly threatened the country's national security. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is committed to protecting the American people. They aim to safeguard them from any threat actors who seek to influence officials at the direction of foreign entities. Linda Sun and Chris Hu both pleaded not guilty. Their attorneys argued that the prosecution represented a novel and improper interpretation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. The lawyers claimed that traveling to China was part of Sun's job in Asian American affairs. They insisted the law concerned only domestic activity, not international conduct. The defense filing stated that it was Sun's job to help New York State maintain friendly relations with the People's Republic of China and its diaspora. At the arraignment, Sun and Hu were released on bond. However, the government seized their assets. The Manhasset Mansion, for example, was valued at $4.1 million by the time of trial. A Hawaii condominium was valued at $2.1 million. A 2024 Ferrari, a Rolex watch, and a Patek Philippe watch were also seized. Diamond jewelry and over $130,000 in cash found in their home were also confiscated. All of these assets were marked for forfeiture. The lifestyle built on betrayal was beginning to unravel. Over the following months, prosecutors filed additional charges. These included tax evasion. Another charge was honest services wire fraud. This related to allegations that Sun and Hu directed contracts for masks and ventilators to Chinese companies at the pandemic's outset. The case continued to grow, and the evidence kept mounting. By November 2025, the case finally went to trial. The trial began on November 12, 2025, at the Federal District Court in Brooklyn. Opening statements commenced. Assistant United States Attorney Amanda Shami stood at the podium facing the jury. 12 ordinary citizens would decide the fate of two people accused of betraying their country. Shami pointed at Linda Sun, who sat motionless at the defense table. Shami told the jury that Sun's loyalty was for sale. She added that the Chinese government was willing to pay a high price. The prosecutor paused for dramatic effect, stating that Linda Sun was for sale. Those words resonated in the courtroom silence. The prosecutor continued building her case, declaring the case was about avarice and betrayal. Shami asserted that Linda Sun acted to benefit China. The evidence, she promised, would show years of secret coordination and millions of dollars in payments. It would reveal a lavish lifestyle funded by a foreign government. All of this occurred while Sun pretended to serve New York. Shami described the mansion, the Ferrari, the Hawaii condominium, the watches, and the cash. She even mentioned the salted ducks delivered to Sun's parents. Each detail, Shami explained, painted a picture of corruption. The jury listened intently, understanding this was not abstract espionage. This was greed and betrayal, tangible and measurable in dollars. Defense attorney Jared L. Schaefer countered with a different narrative. He told the jury that the idea of Linda Sun being a foreign agent was nonsense. Schaefer argued that Sun was merely doing her job. She advised her bosses to steer clear of controversial topics, such as Taiwan. He claimed that none of her advice was inconsistent with United States foreign policy. Schaefer reiterated that it was Sun's job to help New York State maintain friendly relations with the People's Republic of China and its diaspora. The defense claimed that the gifts and benefits were common cultural and political practice in Chinese circles. They were not bribery, Schaefer stated, but merely normal Chinese cultural exchanges. Over the following days, the prosecution presented its case. Internal Revenue Service Criminal Investigation Special Agent in Charge, Thomas M. Fataruso, testified about the financial investigation. He alleged that Sun acted as an undisclosed agent of the People's Republic of China and the Chinese Communist Party. She used Chinese money and her influence within New York State to benefit the Chinese government. Fataruso further stated that Sun and her husband then laundered millions of dollars for the foreign country. They used the monetary benefits of this scheme to buy luxury vehicles and properties valued at millions of dollars in New York. Bank records scrolled across courtroom monitors showing wire transfers from China, deposits into whose business, accounts and withdrawals for luxury purchases were also displayed. Prosecutors asserted that these numbers told a clear story. $7 million in 18 months was impossible on a government salary. State Department officials also testified about visa fraud. Sun had provided unauthorized invitation letters from the governor's office to Chinese officials. These letters were used to obtain visas for travel to the United States. The letters contained false statements and facilitated illegal entry. The visa applications listed Politician 2 as the contact person and included Sun's personal cell phone number. The officials, however, were not actually invited by the governor. Sun had forged the invitation using a falsified version of Politician 2's signature. Prosecutors then presented emails and text messages. These included Sun's communications with Chinese officials. They showed her bragging about blocking Taiwan and requesting direction on what governors should say. Her reports back to Beijing were also shown. The messages were damning. They clearly showed Sun taking orders, seeking approval, and celebrating successes in advancing China's agenda. Federal Bureau of Investigation agents testified about the extensive surveillance operation. This included watching, waiting, and detailed documentation. Photographs appeared on screens in the courtroom. These showed Sun attending Chinese government events and meeting with consular officials. Other images displayed Sun driving the Ferrari and depicted the mansion in Manhasset, along with her luxury purchases. This provided visual proof of her lavish lifestyle. Testimony then shifted to the execution of the search warrant and the items seized. These included a Rolex watch, a Patek Philippe watch, diamond rings, and designer handbags. Agents also found cash stacked in drawers. One agent described finding over $130,000 in cash during the July and September searches combined. The prosecutor implied that keeping that much cash at home suggested someone hiding income and avoiding scrutiny. It suggested someone living a secret financial life. Prosecutors also called an expert on international law and Chinese political influence. The expert explained how China's United Front Work Department operates. This included how Beijing cultivates officials and how influence operations function. The expert noted that the salted ducks were not just food. They served as a symbol of a deeper relationship. In Chinese political culture, such gifts create obligation, signaling trust and expectation. They build bonds that transcend official duties. The expert testified that Sun's behavior matched classic patterns of Chinese cultivation and control. The defense cross-examined aggressively. They challenged the interpretation of the Foreign Agents Registration Act. They questioned whether Sun's advice truly violated United States policy. They emphasized that her job involved Asian American outreach and China relations. The defense lawyers attempted to normalize the gifts as cultural practice. They portrayed Sun as a dedicated public servant caught in a politically motivated prosecution. Despite the defense's arguments, the evidence against Sun continued to pile up. This included the sheer volume of communications and the systematic pattern of blocking Taiwan. There were also lies to investigators, undisclosed income, and a luxury lifestyle. The secret coordination with foreign officials further bolstered the prosecution's case. By mid-November, both sides had rested their cases. The trial continued into its fourth week with closing arguments. Prosecutors summarized the mountain of evidence while the defense made their final plea for reasonable doubt. The case then went to the jury. As of November 18, 2025, the trial remains ongoing. No verdict has yet been reached, and the jury is still deliberating. Linda Sun and Chris Hu now await their fate. If convicted on all counts, Sun faces decades in federal prison. The money laundering conspiracy charge alone carries a maximum of 20 years. Violations of the Foreign Agents Registration Act each carry a maximum of 5 years. The visa fraud charges would add even more time. If convicted, the couple will forfeit the mansion, the condominium, the Ferrari, and the watches. Everything purchased with corrupt proceeds would be lost. The lifestyle of luxury built on betrayal will vanish completely. The Linda Sun case represents more than just one corrupt official. It exposes the sophisticated nature of Chinese government influence operations. These operations specifically target American state and local governments. Beijing does not just focus on Washington. The Chinese government targets governors, state legislators, mayors, and city council members. They target anyone with influence over policy, business, or public opinion. Their strategy is patient, methodical, and long-term. This involves cultivating relationships, providing benefits, creating dependency, and extracting influence. Sun's case follows this pattern perfectly. She had access, authority, and linguistic and cultural fluency. Beijing identified her as an asset and developed that asset over many years. The rewards came gradually. First came travel, then tickets to events. These were followed by business opportunities for her husband, and then major financial benefits. Each step deepened the relationship, and each benefit created more obligation. Eventually, Sun was not just accepting gifts. She was reporting to foreign officials, taking orders, and shaping government policy. She was also lying to investigators. She had become fully compromised. The damage Linda Sun caused is hard to measure precisely. It is difficult to determine how many meetings between Taiwan and New York never happened because of her interference. Legitimate policy discussions may have been censored due to her influence. Her manipulation of pandemic response communications may have harmed public health. The intelligence Chinese officials gained from conversations Sun facilitated may never be fully known. However, the principle is clear. For more than a decade, a Chinese government agent operated inside the inner circle of New York state power. She influenced what governors said publicly. She controlled who they met privately. She blocked a democratic Taiwan from normal diplomatic contact. She gave Beijing direct access to internal government communications. Sun did all of this while enriching herself and her family with millions of dollars in corrupt proceeds. She executed these actions with remarkable boldness and minimal oversight. The fact that Sun operated for so long raises uncomfortable questions. It prompts inquiry into how she avoided detection for years. It questions why financial red flags were not caught earlier. It also raises concerns about whether other officials were similarly compromised. Furthermore, it highlights the unknown number of foreign agents currently working inside American government at state and local levels. The Federal Bureau of Investigation and the Justice Department have increased their focus on these threats. However, the Sun case demonstrates how difficult these influence operations are to detect and prove. The trial itself has broader implications. Prosecutions under the Foreign Agents Registration Act have become controversial. This law requires anyone acting as an agent of a foreign principal to register their activities. They must also disclose these activities. For decades, the Foreign Agents Registration Act was rarely enforced. Recent years have seen a surge in prosecutions. Critics argue the law is vague. They also believe it is applied inconsistently. Attorney General Pam Bondi directed in February 2025 that criminal prosecutions under the Foreign Agents Registration Act should be limited. This limitation applies to more traditional espionage by foreign government actors. The Linda Sun case fits that description. If prosecutors cannot win this case, with this evidence was against this defendant, the future of Foreign Agents Registration Act prosecutions becomes uncertain. If they do win, it sends a powerful message. Work for foreign governments in secret and face serious consequences. The jury's verdict will echo far beyond this courtroom. Defense lawyers and civil liberties advocates will watch closely. Foreign governments will watch too. Beijing will be particularly interested in the outcome. If Linda Sun is acquitted, it suggests American law struggles to address sophisticated influence operations. If she is convicted, it warns Chinese intelligence that cultivation and control of government officials carries real risk. For Linda Sun, her immigrant success story has become an American tragedy. She came to the United States at age 5. She became a citizen. She earned degrees from prestigious universities. She built a career in public service. She had the opportunity to contribute positively to her adopted nation. Instead, she chose betrayal. She sold her loyalty. She served 2 masters and prioritized the foreign one. She lied to her bosses, her colleagues, and federal investigators. Linda Sun used her position to advance a foreign government's agenda. She blocked democratic Taiwan from normal relations with New York. She censored discussions of human rights abuses against Uyghurs. She gave Beijing access to pandemic response information. She did all of this for money. She sought luxury. Linda Sun pursued a mansion she could not afford. She wanted a Ferrari she did not need. Her lifestyle was beyond her legitimate means. The choice was hers to make. The consequences are now arriving. The jury will decide her guilt. However, the facts are largely undisputed. The communications exist. The money transferred. The assets were purchased. The lies were told. The only question is whether her actions constitute crimes under federal law. The answer seems clear from the evidence. Nevertheless, 12 citizens will make that final determination. As you watch this case unfold, remember what it represents. Not every public servant is corrupt. Furthermore, not every person of Chinese heritage is a spy. But some individuals, regardless of background, choose to betray their responsibilities for personal gain. Linda Sun appears to be one of those individuals. The mansion that exposed her was not just a luxury purchase. It was also crucial evidence. It served as physical proof of corruption. This was the kind of asset that forensic accountants notice. This was the kind of lifestyle that triggers investigations. This was the kind of excess that ultimately leads federal agents to your door at dawn. If Linda Sun had lived modestly, she might still be operating today. However, greed compounds security risks. The $4.1 million mansion demanded an explanation. When no legitimate explanation existed, the investigation intensified. That mansion became her downfall. Every corrupt scheme has its weakness. For Linda Sun, it was the mansion in Manhasset. This home was the physical manifestation of a decade of betrayal. It was the proof that she had been for sale. It also proved that the Chinese government had been willing to pay. If you found this deep dive valuable, please like this video. It covers one of the most significant Chinese espionage cases in American state government history. Also, subscribe to this channel. We investigate stories like this that reveal how foreign governments attempt to influence American democracy. Drop a comment below with your thoughts on the Linda Sun case. Should Foreign Agents Registration Act prosecutions be expanded or limited? How can we better detect financial irregularities among government officials? What should happen to Linda Sun if she's convicted? Your perspective matters. This channel exists to inform the public about threats to American institutions. These include foreign influence operations, corruption, and abuse of power. These stories need to be told with detail, evidence, and clarity. That is what we provide. Subscribe so you do not miss our next investigation. Hit the notification bell. Share this video with anyone interested in national security, espionage, or government accountability. The Linda Sun trial continues in Brooklyn Federal Court. When the verdict arrives, we will cover it thoroughly. Until then, stay informed, stay vigilant, and remember that democracy depends on citizens who pay attention to those who wield power on their behalf. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay skeptical, and stay engaged with the truth.